Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ladies, gentlemen, gamers, and fellow Genshin lovers and haters. Welcome back to a little bit of a different video today. As you can see, I'm pre-recording this. This isn't live at Twitch TV Tecnics channel, although I'm not putting up any sort of gameplay above this. One, because I'm lazy, I don't want to edit. But two, because today, as you might tell from where we are, we're going to be talking about the newest addition to Genshin Impact, the Imaginarium Theater. So we've known about this for quite a while, and I'm going to basically be giving my opinion on what it is and why I'm upset. A little bit of a spoiler there, but we've known about the Imaginarium Theater coming for a while. Now, in the history of Genshin, and I always say this, I think Genshin is the exception to a lot of things. I think Genshin was a really good middle ground to a lot of the HOYO stuff, especially when Star Rail came out. I think Star Rail obviously blasted out of the water now, but at the time Genshin came out and really popularized, I would say, the gacha sort of formula to where now we have a lot of games similar to Genshin, and just a lot of people know about gachas in general because of Genshin. Now, since the beginning, I think what Genshin has done and what they've continued to do is they've appealed to the casual generic audience. Now, sadly, that seems to be still working. Now, for the hardcore fans like me and for anyone who wails in this game, or for anyone who actually wants more to the game just in general, that's not too good. HOYO has come out, at least the team that runs Genshin, which I don't think is good. They've come out and they've basically said they don't really want to do anything late game related. And this was said kind of a while back, and that kind of solidified for a lot of people, especially a lot of content creators, that this game doesn't have too much longevity. And we've seen that as time has gone on. Even with Fontaine, as good as Fontaine was, a lot of people didn't like Fontaine, and for right reason. There was a lot of droughts in it. There's barely any content. It's really just copy and paste, put some mini games in, put some character stories in, main story every once in a while, and there you go, that's Genshin Impact. Now, a couple of times they felt, I would say, pressured by games like Wuthering Waves. You know, we'll never know this for sure, but it's just my best assumption that they felt a little bit of pressure and a little bit of pushback to their earnings to where they are like, okay, we're going to give the fans a smidgen of what other games give in troves, like Honkai Star Rail. We'll raise the resin cap here and there, and we'll put some quality of life improvements like claiming all your commissions at once and then re-putting them out with one click of a button. You know, the little simple things, and these were good. But for a long time, people really wanted more late game stuff because Genshin, at the end of the day, is a very, very easy game. And it still is. The hardest thing we've ever had in the game for a while was the Spiral Abyss. And now enters the Imaginarium Theatrix over here, which, let me just make sure I'm getting the name right. Sorry, Imaginarium Theater. So, the Imaginarium Theater comes out, and it's very well done, aesthetically. Aesthetically, the little area they have, I was actually shocked they put this much effort into it. There's a little bit of lore here to it, you know, excuse my very well-built and sexy characters like Clorinda over here. But they have things in the environment, they have a lot of lore here, there's a lot of books you can find. I mean, this little thing alone is cute enough. They have a little story going on, you can even change the music, so it's a little bit like Honkai Star Rail. And especially with the train car in there. And there's a lot of things that I don't know if they're going to improve on in the future. I don't know if there's something behind this curtain. I don't know if that's where something is happening, which we'll get into soon. But the actual physical space itself, I love the whole aesthetic of it, and I think it's actually really, really nicely done. They did try to put some more lore into this than they do for the Spiral Abyss. The Spiral Abyss is kind of just there, you kind of just challenge it. This, they actually took the time to voice act, and they put a little story to it, because it does involve the witches of Genshin Impact. What the fuck are they called? Oh my god, their name eludes me right now. Let me look it up because I just looked it up yesterday. Genshin witches, the Hexen Circle. That's what they're called. So this obviously includes people like Klee's mom, and what I assume to be one of the late game lore things that they're going to bring in way later on, or potentially after all the Seven Nations are done with their little bullshit with the Abyss, and maybe we find our sibling. But regardless, the Imaginarium Theater comes out, and this is touted as a new late game activity. Now, I have a couple of issues with this, so to kind of describe what the Imaginarium Theater is, aside from getting the good out the way, because there's going to be a couple more good things I point out, but aesthetically speaking and story-wise, I think they pretty much did really well. I mean, we have Wolfie here, he kind of helps us around. They did give him some, I believe, custom animations. They gave him a decent voice, which I think is the reused, I think, Mika voice, but I'm not sure. But you know, it's really cool. I actually really, really like the aesthetic and everything. And even for a lot of the visuals here, from just opening the page to all this, I love this color palette. This is like Star Rail color palette level. I think the amount of polish and stuff they put into the graphics, they absolutely hit it out of the park with that. Now, that's sadly one of the best things I could say for this shit, because aside from that, there's going to be a lot of conflicting opinions I have about Imaginarium Theater. So again, this is touted as a late game activity, and I will show you why. So what are the basics of Imaginarium Theater? Well, they kind of wanted to copy Simulated Universe from Star Rail, but just do it a lot worse. I really, really honestly believe that. So, first of all, this was wildly confusing why the thing is this way. Now, in what way is that? Well, first of all, the way you have to play this, there's 3 difficulties this entire thing. And look, you can see Wolfie there. So there's easy mode, there's normal mode, and there's hard mode. Now, one of the reasons why I would say this is a late game activity, aside from, I think, HOYO also saying it, is for hard mode, where you can get the full list of rewards, you have to have 18 characters that are all level 70. Now, one of the good things is, you can invite a friend's character if they set it up that way. But at the base level, if you want to be able to get all the rewards from this thing, which for most of them, they backload them. A lot of more primo gems are really for the later levels, if you can clear those. A lot of the beginning levels don't give as much as the later ones. But there's basically combats that you have to go through. There's little combats, so here you can see there's 3. Here you can see it goes a little further, there's 6. And then the maximum amount is 8. But to get to even try to do all 8, you have to have 18 characters level 70. I've played Genshin since release. I did take a break here or there, but I've been playing Genshin since release. I did not have 18 characters level 70. Now, granted, I only care about the teams I actually care about. This is no surprise. However, I actually needed to level Diluc, which I hate Diluc, because not only do you have to have 18 characters built to 70, which I actually do have normally, but they confine them to certain elements. For this, I guess, month, the season elements is Pyro, Electro, and Animo. So this puts further locks on you. This puts further stipulations on what you can and can't do. Now, from a late game perspective, what is the main thing people want to do in Genshin? They want to show off their wellness. They want to show off all the people they love. They want to form the team with their characters and then do it. Now, granted, you could say that's what the Spiral Abyss is for, but I think we want more late game stuff that gives us more freedom to what we choose. Now, on the opposite end of the spectrum, is this necessarily a bad thing? I don't think it is, because it does make it hard. However, this is where it goes against one of the main things of the game. I like this character. I pay money for this character. I want to use this character. If that character is Cryo, if that character is Hydro, Nuvolette for instance, I cannot use them in this shit. I have basically wasted my time on something where I can actually use them to their full potential to get me more rewards. That is fucking stupid and it feels like shit. I have to use characters I have no interest in, which at this point you could just say, big whoop, stop being a baby. Sure, that's one route you could take. But on the other round, I think this is fucking dumb. This feels like shit. Now, granted, that's coming from someone who did everything. I got all of the difficulties done. I literally have done the hardest one and did it. Now, I didn't do it too easily. I did it very hardly. But I did do it. It was a struggle, but I did it. Now, this is the other thing. If you don't build a lot of characters for this, and you want to get all the rewards, this is going to feel like shit. Second of all, and this is something I necessarily want to show because I don't want to make this video too long and I'm not going to edit it, but when you actually go into the game, the reason I say it's similar to the simulated is because you go through little, you basically go through little, like, zones, right? And you get to choose what you do in each zone, but you, no matter what, need to have 8 combats. So you can see there's big bosses that you're eventually going to fight no matter what. But the worst part is, not only do you get limited on what characters you could use, you also get limited on what characters you could use at what time. There's a certain amount of RNG to it, and RNG could be a gameplay element you work around. It could be a challenge factor. But the fact that it's not optional, you could really get hard fucked. Now, they do have things in place to kind of offset that. You can kind of re-roll it back. And you know what? Even I'll go into it just to fucking show everyone at this point. So, for trial characters, they do give you some trial characters, which is good. However, your characters are probably going to be better than theirs either way, unless you don't build them like for me and Farazan, for me and Kuki, for me and Toma. I never built them. I don't plan to. Thankfully, they give me those, but I think you do have to have them, but I'm not too sure. But either way, You get to do this, but the main issue is you need all these other characters. And again, you can get one supporting character from your friends, which is nice. But then you need to use your own characters. And again, I don't have a lot of these built, so it's like, fuck. And then the special guest stars, sadly enough, I don't have any of these either. Although that is a little bit of a helpful boon here. So when you go to the challenge, the main thing is that makes it similar to the simulator is this right here. You get random things here, random events that you could choose. Now, obviously, there's different battles, and I do like the choice. The choice is not bad, but the other things that you get, you can refresh here too to try and get more. So you can invite a random companion, companion select, so you could select one, but it's between two random ones. You really could get fucked with this. And then this is the part that really pisses me off. The wondrous boons. Now, granted, this could be a Star Rail effect where maybe over time it will get better, and goddamn, I hope it really does, because the way it is now feels terrible. The different boons that they give you if you select one of three, these things kind of suck dick. Some of them are okay, but some of them really depend on what characters you're gonna get, and that's up to RNG for the most part. So at a certain point, a lot of these suck dick, and some of them you can't even use. And the worst part is the characters that you choose, they have what they call vigor. So vigor only lets you use them a certain amount of times. So it really is limiting. Like, even though they give you some RNG, which again could be the whole thing of this thing, like, oh, you know, we're gonna make it hard because not only do you have to use certain characters, but it's even more RNG on top of that. So in this way, I guess this literally has to be a late game activity because only late game people will have their characters geared to this level. But it's like, even then, you can't use who you want, and then you can't even get good boons because the boons themselves usually suck ass, and even if they don't suck ass, they're not great. And sometimes you can't use them because you're getting unlucky. It's like, there's so much mismatching here where it just feels fucking terrible. Now, at the hardest difficulty, I believe enemies are 95, so the actual idea behind it, I guess, is okay. But in execution, this honestly feels like shit. This feels painful. Now, granted, the Abyss also did feel like that for me at first, but then I got good, and there's a lot more control and freedom there. Where for here, for the Imaginarium Theater, it's a lot more bullshit. It's a lot more up to RNG. Again, not that bad, but really, I don't know. This whole thing feels like shit, and it feels like a slap in the face. Now, this is on top of two extra things. So I basically described the whole Imaginarium Theater to you, and it resets every month. Now, here's the big kicker. The Spiral Abyss, which was the only thing before this that was considered a late game activity that actually reset, used to reset twice a month. Now, both the Imaginarium Theater and the Spiral Abyss reset 1 month apart. Now, the Spiral Abyss resets every 16th, and I believe the Imaginarium Theater resets every beginning of the month. But basically, it's alternating to where now, every time you would have gotten an Abyss, you're either doing the Abyss or the Imaginarium Theater. So the Abyss is kind of getting lessened. Now, the other big kicker here is, and you know, I'll go back to the rewards to kind of show this off. The other big kicker here is not only can you do the Abyss less, so something that you could prepare for way better than you can for this. Not only do you do the Abyss less, because for this, next month, it's going to be different elements. But the main thing is, can I even cancel the performance? I can't, can I? Fuck. Well, I remember the amount anyway, so it doesn't matter. But can I even get out of here? Oh, yeah, no, I can. Here we go. So the main thing is with the rewards here. Oh, wait, no, never mind. I can't even get out of here. Oh, here we go. End performance. There. So the main thing is you actually get less rewards for this than you do for Abyss. For Abyss, they actually raised the rewards, which was great. However, now, for this, aside from this, because this you just get for the first time completion, which is a lot. It's like 1,200, 1,100, something like that. But for this, every month you now get, unless this resets, but I doubt this resets, you get, I think, 620 maximum if you do the hardest mode, which is for Giga late game people, where it's like, this is in some ways harder than the Abyss. Now, the Abyss is hard, don't get me wrong. But the Abyss you can actually plan for and you can reuse characters because it's not that bad. This, you could really get fucked with. Like, in some ways it's easier, in some ways it's harder, but it gives less than the Abyss. And now since the Abyss doesn't reset twice a month, it resets once a month, we're overall getting less gems, which is kind of crazy to me. So I'll just take a look here. I believe they increased the Abyss already, but I'm not sure. But I've also fully cleared the Abyss too, so it's not like I'm not a late game player. It's not like I'm necessarily suffering from this. But I'm talking about this as a person who's cleared it, who's felt it, and it feels like fucking shit. So yeah, we're getting less primos because this is extending the Abyss's time now to 1 month. Because now these are going to alternate. So every half a month, you're going to have something new. But it's not going to be Abyss, Abyss, Imaginarium Theater for the full month. It's going to be half a month of Abyss, half a month of Imaginarium Theater, then the next half month Abyss and Imaginarium Theater, and so on and so forth. Hopefully that makes sense. But either way, that's the first part. But the second part, just to kind of add insult to injury, right? Aside from them trying to copy the simulated universe, having like little buffs you could get, which you have to pay for, which the payment system also sucks fucking ass because you don't really get a lot of it, and then you have to spend it to get characters, and the characters are random, so it just ends up sometimes feeling like shit. But if you complete a run, you also get toy coins, right? And they have little lore things and whatever, but you could use these toy coins to buy Thespian tricks. Now, I didn't know what the fuck these were, and this is a big thing of I feel like the game didn't explain things too well about how this whole event worked, or not even event, this permanent new game mode. Which overall, if you just had the Abyss reset twice, you'd get more from the Abyss resetting. With this, it's actually ending up less, I believe, mathematically, so that's not good. Although it is new, I don't think it's necessarily good, and it's overall less in terms of actual rewards. But they didn't explain it right, where I had to really sit down and think about it. I was like, okay, why is this the case? Just because they wanted to, and a lot of the event just feels like shit. But they have Thespian tricks here, which you could get. And I was like, okay, what are these? Do these help me in combat? I don't really know. And the biggest thing is, I could be wrong with what I'm about to say, but from what I could tell, these are the Thespian tricks. All these are poses. So if you're into photography, if you're into like Genshin camera, you could do poses. So I bought balls and I was like, okay, does this do anything? Does this give me any buffs in combat or anything? And the question, or sorry, the answer is no. It really doesn't. Now, I guess I'll buy them because, why not? These coins literally cannot do anything else. But it's just like, damn. Like, some of these kind of just, like, suck. Like, the ball one's good. The Ayato one's whatever. This literally just looks like Noelle's standing there, which I guess is cute. She's doing a little, like, bow thing. Like look at this bullshit. Who even uses Chongyun? You might have to because of Imaginarium Theater, but who knows? I guess I'll get the fucking Gene one, but either way, this is where it's like, okay, cool, we get poses, but it's like, oh, look, I got an achievement, wow. But yeah, it's just so stupid, man. I don't understand this. I feel like this is really just, I don't want to say hypocritical, but it feels like it's at odds and ends with itself. Where it's like, in one way, they wanted to make a late game activity, and they did, but at the same time, late game players might not get full enjoyment out of it, because again, you can't use your characters you wailed for unless you get lucky. Not even to have them be the element that's being used, but also to have it be lucky enough to get it either early on or later on. If you get it early on, good fucking luck. You're gonna have to use it, and then for the later on bosses, you might be kind of fucked. I don't know how I eked out the win. I don't know how I'm gonna eke it out next time. Now I actually have to build more characters, which, I'm late game. I can afford it all. I have mostly everything. I mean, just even more wise. How many do I have? How much more do I have? I mean, you can see my weapons there. It's not like, again, I'm poor. But you can see I have like 30 million more primos will ignore after the Clorindas than I did on my YouTube channel. But yeah, no, overall I hate this event. Now the one really good thing that I just can't complain about, which I kind of can in certain ways, is they made the game even more easier aside from this, because with this buff that certain characters get now because of the duration of the Imaginarium Theater, and this is where again they don't even describe this well, both inside and outside the theater, these characters, which obviously some of them are recent event characters, or sorry, recent banner characters, Clorinda and Arlecchino, which I both have, thankfully. But this further incentivizes you to get the current characters because you could use them in the theater and they're going to be better. But even outside the theater, they buff up your party. Now, I don't know if these things stack. I don't know if you put Arlecchino and Clorinda and Toma together, if it's going to count 3 times. They really don't describe it. I'm assuming it only counts once no matter how many characters you have. It's just like it's on or it's off. But who really knows? So, leave it again since it's not fully describe something. But overall, I just think this is kind of like a slap in the face. I did not have fun while playing this. I know there's probably people who will. And, at the end of the day, this doesn't matter. But overall, I think it's a net negative. Although it is new, and I do appreciate new, I don't think it was executed properly. And we're overall getting less rewards for this, aside from if it's your first time. But that first time is only for your first time. Next month, if we had 2 Abyss resets, hell, even I think with the regular Abyss, well, before, or sorry, after they updated the Primo Gems, we would have gotten more. But this is just a way to get less, and it's more annoying, and some people might be able to do the Abyss and this. I don't think most people will be able to do both, unless, again, you're late game. But it just feels so divorced from what they're trying to do with the regular game, which is make it casual. And even for something for late game players, it just feels weird and annoying and just not fun. I don't know. It's alright, it's not terrible, but again, the boons suck, there's too much RNG, and it just left a sour taste in my mouth, and that's kind of why I'm here to make this video. So that's what it is. But either way, that's about it. Anyway, I have to go help my family now, so that's going to be about it for me. We will leave the Imaginarium Theater for now, because I don't have to do it for another month. Thank goodness. But yeah, no. This was like... I just didn't enjoy this shit, and I had to make a video about it. It upset me. But there's a lot of lore in there, and again, the aesthetics are good. But that's pretty much it. But anyway, I hope everyone enjoyed, and I hope you all watch me at Twitch TV/Tecnics channel. Anyway, that's about it. Eee!